people with Usher syndrome. Some are self-conscious about speaking. I know a few who are self-conscious, but you seem to to own you who you are, and you even take it as far as you're interviewing people, you're on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had to, have you always been like that, or have you always kind of owned it, or was it a process to get to being comfortable, being, someone with Usher syndrome?
Oh, it was a long journey to get to
Okay.
this point for sure. Because as a child who had Usher syndrome and wearing hearing aids in both ears and going to school for the first time with those hearing aids, I was always nervous that someone was going to notice them. I would inform my mother, people can see this outside of my ears. People can,
Hmm.
I feel, and she'd just be like, no, it's okay. Like, no one, you could barely see it. So I went to school, and I never forget, it was a little boy. He was tapping me on my shoulder, like, what is that? What is that in your ear? And automatically, I never forget, this was the first time ever that my heart was burning. I never felt like pain or weird, anything like that. I'd never felt that before. And
Hmm.
I knew from that moment that I was different from everyone else. And from
Hmm.
there, bullying started. And this was in kindergarten. And I was bullied for so many years. We would have people pulling out my hearing aids, or coming to my ears and like, I bet you can't hear me. I guess you can't. You know how kids are. And that
Yeah.
and that really got to me really badly, to the point where I didn't even want to raise my hand in the classroom. I didn't. I actually went into a silent mode for a while in my life, as a child, because I was afraid that once I raised my hand, if I didn't understand something, then people would talk about me. And that was the case, which is why I went into a silent mode. And with that, my thoughts had to go somewhere. I was able to learn to think before I spoke, and I started to write my thoughts on paper, and I fell in love with words, and fell in
Hmm.
love with exchanging words. And okay, so, you know, instead of using this word, I can use, I can compensate it for this word, or, I would
Yeah.
always, it would be kind of a cool puzzle in my head. And that's where my love of writing was developed. But despite the fact that my mother made me study 12 words every Friday, I have to remember. But yeah, it actually benefited in the long run. So yeah, that's where my love of writing began.
I love that, and that makes great sense. In a sad way, but also in a happy way. It's like it's sad that you felt like you couldn't speak, but I'm also happy that you were able to kind of find your love in that process. Um,
Yeah,
and I think that's a good kind of like analogy, or some good can come from hard times. You can build a lot of character, from hard times. But I don't want hard times on anyone. But it's you know what I mean. It's like sometimes
absolutely.
good comes from it.
Absolutely. It really
um,
does. And the thing is, like, a lot of great pain came from me finally being able to use my voice. I was just simply tired. I
yeah.
was tired of, it's only so much that a human can take. And um, it was just a long journey. I've experienced a lot of different discrimination due to my hearing and my vision, behind the scenes. Like, and I'm still, to this day, there is still some stuff that I literally have to fight.